So this is Sue Greenwald with Awakened Stories, and I'm here with the one and the only and the original real John Kennedy Jr. Hey, John, how are
Hi,
you?
Sue. I'm
Yeah,
doing good. Thank you for taking the time out where we could
of
chat.
course.
Um, yeah, I heard you were just doing a live with
Yeah.
Smarty, so people check out the live with the King and Sue.
Yeah. Always interesting because nothing is ever planned. You know, we never know what's going to come out, and it's always so fat. The information is always fascinating. Today it wasn't so much Q&A. It was really like a touch base, like what's happening now. He's developing a lot of products, and there's a few that they don't want to come out. And now he's also focused on health and healing, and they don't want that to come out, you know.
Right.
So. Yeah. So as always, for those that are new, we base our conversation on John's book, Stolen Identity, which is a fabulous book available at Amazon and Barnes and Noble. And you know, we've been talking now for months. So our first few videos are the most like most chronologically oriented kind of the story that John tells in his book. And then we've just talked about different aspects of the story pretty much every week when we
And
talk.
we come up with some new stuff that I remember and share.
Yeah. You know, as just in
So
past.
the past videos, the older videos, check them out.
Yeah.
And with that said, the website,
Yeah.
check out check out the new website. Um, King Smarty got these. He's got his logo, source directives. Check out the website.
Right.
Help support us all. Help, follow us all, share us, and support us all so we can get the truth out to the world
Mm.
because the world doesn't want the truth out.
Yeah. Let me show everybody the website. I'm really excited to do that. Of course, I got to find it. Wait a minute. Isn't it awful? I don't have it handy. So maybe that's not going to happen. Isn't that funny? Oh, there it is. This is the new website. It just came out. So it's the real John Kennedy JR.com. And this is what it looks like. So here's the first page. You can click to go right to Amazon and buy the book. And it kind of just gives an overview and a lot of pictures and all of that, a timeline. And you can go and click on and get the full timeline. And really, this isn't only an abbreviated timeline. This is just the early years. So we kind of explain where you're coming from in the book a little bit, you know, like, you know, we get a lot of the same questions. Why did you wait so long to tell your story? You don't have the accent. You don't look like the John, blah, blah, blah. Because
Yeah, just those silly comments.
yeah, they don't know the story yet. So this kind of gives it to them in a little quick bubble. And then we've got an about page which tells the story again. And you know, again, there's lots of good information on the website. All right. So then there's a shop page and a donate page, which I love. So people are able to look at the pendants, and I'll show you that. There's 5 different colors: gold, rose gold, silver, black, and the rainbow color. And then there's a small size and a large size. All right. Each one is $122. That includes the shipping, and that goes to fund John's living expenses, his purchase of more books for donation. So those are amazing charms. Not only are they collector's items, but they have healing and protective frequencies in there that King Smarty put in there for everyone, which is like you will notice you may notice the healing frequency. So as we've talked, John, you know, we've talked every week, and I say, well, you're looking good, you're looking better, you're looking good. And we always talk about these pendants that you've been wearing. So now you're spreading that out with your followers that choose to purchase one. Of course, that
Oh, I'm
is,
feeling a lot better too,
yeah,
and mentally also.
yeah,
Um, and
yeah,
Robin puts frequency stuff all over everything.
yeah.
But I'm feeling a lot better. I mean, heck, a couple years ago, the doctor said you'd be
Yeah,
lucky if you got out of the hospital. So
yeah. So just wanted to show everybody the website because I'm excited about it. And then there is a donate page there. So for those that just want to help John with his expenses, there's a little bit of information there on the website. All right. So fabulous, fabulous website. Very excited about this. And it's only going to grow from there. And there's a lot of great photos on there. It's going to grow from here. So you're going to see more and more and more. All right.
And for people in the audience, this, what we are exposing here, this story should be all over mainstream, but it's not, because we're exposing what they want to shut us down. They don't want the truth out about the identity theft that organized crime, the cabal has taken over. They don't want the truth out. Me being the son of an assassinated president, what they did, they should all be ashamed of what they're doing now. My mother and my mother's sister, my cousins, my family members that were murdered, all these other sites. You can't say murdered, like on TikTok, you got to say unalived, and everybody's starting to have to use codes because we're being so suppressed by these people. Right. We need to quit being suppressed and get rid of the people that are suppressing us. My father, it's in my book. He, before he was assassinated, there's a plot to enslave us all. He wanted to, so we didn't become slaves. They assassinated him for it.
He wanted to
with
liberate.
That said, what is that plot? In my book, people ask me about MK Ultra all the time. MK Ultra is a huge weapon to enslave us. In short, to make us do what we don't want to do. It's a deep hypnosis. MK Ultra is a deep hypnosis. Just think if they put us all, the whole world, under hypnosis and we became slaves to them. That is their plan, to enslave us all. They have the most technology. They're the best of the best. And, I was questioning that, last night. Have they already done it? Can they take a group of people, put them under MK Ultra and make them dig tunnels, drug tunnels, slave trade? What can they do with this MK? It's the most powerful tool I've ever seen in warfare. You can assassinate somebody using someone else under MK. It's huge. But, like I just said, there was a plot. There is a plot to enslave us all. Yeah. And people need to wake up. I get these hater comments. I'm trying to expose what I've learned, and it is huge. When I was a little kid, they thought I was a slave. They used me as a slave. Our federal governments, agencies, just like my Hollywood career. They use you, make you disappear. Just like the JohnJohn the whole world knew, Mr. Pretty Boy, right. George Onassis replacing me, people. And I'm here exposing that. I'm not the only victim. It's huge what they are doing to enslave us so they can keep the power at the top. I'm sorry I'm rambling on. I was just on a roll.
It's always fine. And what I kind of feel like we have been programmed, through TV. Like it's called programming for a reason. And we know that they were doing experiments with subliminal messages way back when. And so they're encoded in our music, all of our media, our entertainment. People don't read, newspapers, magazines, or whatever, but not only do we have the imagery, but we have the words that are hidden. And we've had that our entire lives. And then we have society kind of dictating the way we act, the way we believe by, kind of peer pressure. Right? Your neighbor believes in something that they don't want you to believe in. Well, the peers, the neighbors, the other people kind of keep that person in line. So we have been basically managing ourselves all these years, right? We've been programmed. We keep the herd, we keep our own herd in our own little path. And nobody wants to break out of the box and do or think differently anymore.
Here's a good example of how we're brainwashed. This was a Harris commercial, and this is our vice president. And she's doing a commercial, and she's saying if she becomes president, she's going to do all this stuff. Well, she's vice president right now, people. She has the power to do all this stuff right now, and it's not getting done. Why does she have to become president to do it? And then it says, we need a real leader like Harris. And I'm like, okay, they're already saying she's a real leader. Really? What kind of leader is? How much service did she spend? How, not to disrespect her, but she is one of the worst candidates that should be a commander in chief to run this country. And Donald Trump is no better. Donald Trump is a thief, and he should be in prison as far as I'm concerned. He's accessory to so many crimes. But these cabal members get away with it at the top. They can do what they want to do because they're the cabal and they're running the show. They're the billionaires running everything. We're finding out how bad we are being infiltrated by them with the media, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, all of it. To get the story out, we're learning fast how bad they've enslaved us already. They've taken away our freedom of speech. I get lions after lions being shut down for holding up my book. They take them down just for holding up a book. And
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
exposing the cabal at the highest levels. Me being the son of an assassinated president, what I've learned from a little kid, being on the run, trying to hide out. People said, like you said earlier, why didn't you come out earlier? Bill Clinton wanted me dead, people. We didn't advertise. If I would have came out and said, hey, I'm John Kennedy Jr. while Bill Clinton was in office, I would have been assassinated the next day. What could have with that done? But instead, I was running from place to place, worrying about being assassinated. So, even George Onassis, JohnJohn, the man that stole my identity, he wanted me dead. He didn't want me to ever share this story.
Right.
And they're still out there. My sister Carolyn, that's a fake. You got Donald Trump right now, that's a fake. So many fake people that don't want this out. And we need to get it out and expose all these evil people for what they do. And they basically kill people and steal their assets.
That is the bottom line of what they're doing. It's about power, control, and wealth. And of course, those that have can control those that have not, right? And we saw a video, and well, I'm trying to think of where it was shared, but basically how the CIA basically will help to drain a potential opponent's accounts. So they have no recourse, they have no legal recourse. They can't fight the system anymore because they don't have the money.
Oh, they have kept me
Yeah,
purposely in poverty.
yes.
A good example. Um, Somebody wrote me a check. It was a bad check. The check bounced. They closed my bank account. That was done on purpose. This was 30, 40 years ago. It was,
Yeah.
but for years, I could not have a bank account because of that. So then when I finally get a bank account, um, I actually had a girlfriend that stole my pickup truck. And I'm the type of guy who was like, you want it, take it. I don't want to have nothing to do with it. So the DMV sent me a letter. And actually, how I got notified by the California DMV was I started a bank account here in Arizona. They froze my bank account, froze it. They said a judge ordered that I owed $300 for DMV fees in California, that they froze my bank account. How is that even lawful? I thought, for an order to be, I had to stand in front of a judge or something. So they closed my bank account again. But they have purposely gone out of their way to do things like that over and over and over again, just so I can't have a simple bank account. So I'm getting a check working for cash, or getting a check to go to Liquor King to cash my check with a fee and everything else and live on the down low. It's huge, the stuff they do, and they have the power to do it.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Well, the good news, John, is that I've seen your, the cover of your book, your face. It's been out on various videos recently. So your story is getting out there. A lot of people are like, oh, he doesn't look or sound like the John Kennedy I remember. Well, that's because he's a different person. Okay, that person was an imposter. I know this is always painful, but would you be able to recap the plane crash story again for those that haven't heard the older videos? Like, just talk about that day since you were kind of there. And so the bottom line is JohnJohn, the one we saw on People magazine and the Oprah interviews and all over, was an imposter. He took John's life, meaning his wealth,
Um, I've
position.
been in more than one plane crash.
Yeah,
They love plane crashes to kill people.
yeah.
Um, they killed my stepbrother in midair. I was right there. I was 13 years old, and they had a guy, the pilot. My stepbrother was flying the plane. I was 13. I don't remember how old he was, but the mechanic, I called him the mechanic, that was sitting in the passenger side, had a gun pointed at him and shot him in the head. I'll never forget
Right,
what, I was looking at that old gun. It was rusty. I was like, that gun's never going to fire. And then boom, it fired, and my stepbrother was dead. I broke my arm in that plane. Some of the older pictures from Aristotle Island, you'll see I had a cast on. Um, there was a few plane crashes I was on. I believe you're talking about the one where they picked me up in New Jersey, and they wanted to kill me at the wedding.
yes,
That was a hit. And Bill Clinton was in president at the time. I believe Bill Clinton was responsible for all that. What went down? I believe they wanted to kill us all in one plane crash. Kill me and kill my stepbrother, so the story would get buried. Well, I survived that crash. I don't know how, but yeah, they were planning to take me to the wedding to have me killed,
right.
and
Well,
that was my stepbrother. Yeah, he figured that we were no real blood, and he didn't want to ever have me share that. Hey, I'm the real John Kennedy Jr. and you're not. So they were taking me to that wedding to have me killed.
right. So there was no love lost between you and he. Like, he obviously took your place, your life, what you would have lived on the surface level. But as a kid, you probably weren't thinking a bigger picture like that. You probably didn't even understand what was happening to you, I'm assuming.
There was so many things I look back on when I was a little kid, and I know it wasn't just me. It's probably all little kids. They don't think about murder for money and what the power of money and the power of government and everything else. Even in when there was many attempts on my life. This was 1988. Many attempts on my life. I was going crazy because every time I turned around, it seemed like somebody was trying to kill me. But there was this double agent, and he was like, we were off in the woods, and he was like, why would you even want money? Because they're just going to try to steal it from you. They will steal it from you anyway. But I'll never forget that.
That's what he told. How old were you then? Like
And in
29, 30?
1988, I was born in 60. So
Yeah, 28. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Wow. Yeah. Well, you like to think, and again, that's exactly what happened. And we've talked about that in prior videos. You've explained why they will go to such lengths to take someone's identity. All right. So they basically take their power, their control, and their status, their position, wherever they might be. They take their land, their assets, their money. They basically infiltrate and then take over their assets. So they gain a lot of financial gain that way. And then they
there's
can,
so
they
many
can,
good examples too. Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart. Now Walmart's everywhere.
yeah,
What he went through. Howard Hughes. Donald Trump is a wonderful example. I mean, I'm a great example.
Yeah.
I'm probably the best example because I'm alive and sharing. Hey, they put a replacement in, but I'm still alive. But Donald Trump, if people think about it, that one helicopter crash where Donald Trump was the pilot and it was his executives, his main men that ran his casinos for him, perished. When they perished, when Donald Trump perished in 1989, I believe it was 1989, something like that anyway.
Mhm.
Just think about the Hollywood actor that stepped into his shoes right then and organized crime. They became billionaires instantly,
Right.
instantly, just for saying, I'm Donald Trump now. Billionaires, you know, the Taj Mahal, you got, Trump Tower, and then the power they had to steal from Donald Trump's relatives. There was one of Donald Trump's nephews at $400 million. He said Donald Trump stole $400 million from me. I believe it was his nephew. Well, it wasn't Donald Trump that stole it because Donald Trump was killed and replaced. So now the new guy's saying, I don't know you shit, buddy.
Yeah, yeah,
And then Donald Trump working with JohnJohn, the man that stole my identity, to sell all my family's possessions for millions of dollars. And then you got Caroline. It gets so confusing, but it's all over money.
yeah,
It's all over greed. It's all over money and power.
totally.
If you have the money, you can get the power because you can buy what you want to get the power. If you have the power, you can get the money. And the cabal are so huge at the top.
Right,
And we need to kick them out of government because they're controlling us. They're enslaving us, all of us.
right. Think of how many times per day the average person, okay, has to make a decision based on money. Okay, what they're going to do, what they're going to wear, what they're going to eat, where they're going to go. Everything we do is based on money. Okay, so most of us have to juggle it and we have to be a little bit careful. So that's how they're controlling us. We're not truly financially free. We're not able to run around and do all the cool stuff we would like to do. We can't help each other. We can't really travel. We can't experience. We're living these little narrow lives because we're controlled by money. So when money comes our way, we're able to do more, see more, experience more, help more people, right? And
Yeah.
when they take that
I've
away,
always,
they control
I
us.
always said I don't want the money, but you got to have it. You got to
Yeah,
eat.
yeah,
I wish you didn't have to. I wish there was a system put in place where you didn't have to have the greed because people start getting all this money and
yeah,
then well, I'm going to kill so I can get more.
yeah,
But
yeah,
got to have it. Like right now, we got to have it if we want to get this story out. My life has gotten so much better, and I've met so many wonderful, nice
yeah,
people.
yeah.
Um, I we got a gift box the other day, and it had shave razors and soap, and I was like, what a blessing! What an absolute blessing! Um, you get the people that'll gift you a few bucks here and there, and then you get the haters. Well, you're not the real John Kennedy Jr. Quit scamming people. I ain't scamming nobody, but it's nice to be loved. It's nice to send love back to people,
Right. Yeah.
and we need all to start loving each other and get these frequencies working.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. So yeah, I occasionally get the haters too, and they'll say, "Oh, you're not who you say you are because your accent is different," or you don't sound like you have a Boston accent. I'm like, dude, are you even listening to the story? So that's why it's important to go back and read the book, and if you can watch especially the first two videos we did, that tells the story, and then we've talked every week about various components and why, how it's done, or other stories you'll bring out. But then people have a deeper understanding, then they can make their own informed decision. Like, rather than
Yeah,
just look around at the People magazine at the checkout counter and say, oh, that's not you. Why not listen to the story and then make a decision? maybe it could be true, right? Maybe there's an
And
agenda here, you know?
I've traveled all over the world, and as a truck driver, all over the country. So, I could be in Boston, Massachusetts for a few days and I could start having a hell of a Boston accent.
Yeah,
I actually lived in Canada for I think it was almost a year when I was young.
yeah,
And I picked up the act. But when you go somewhere, even down south,
yeah,
if you're there for a little while, you'll start picking up an accent,
yeah,
just by listening and talking with others.
yeah,
But I talk the way I talk. I don't.
yeah.
I
You're
could
not
sell you. I could sell you a Ginsu knife too.
you're not trying to put on an entertainment here. We're just telling a story, right? Yeah, we're not trying to pander. If you don't want to buy a pendant, don't buy one, okay? And don't complain about it. Just don't buy one. If you don't want to buy the book, don't buy it, you
But
know?
I'll tell you what. If you do buy a pendant, buy two. Put one in the wrapper and don't scratch it up. But if you buy one, wear it, share it all the time. Say, hey, this guy needs to get his story out, because his story is exposing
Yeah,
what's really going on.
yeah,
But we're making history.
right.
You see all these. I was watching a commercial last night. They're selling a coin of Harris. They're selling a coin of Trump. Which one is going to win? This is a collector's item, and it's probably far more than this pendant is, and it's junk. But these pendants are. We're going to make history, and we're breaking out. We're Paul Revere's. We're David, and we're up against Goliath, and we're going to kick some ass. And uh, these pendants will help do it. They
Yeah.
really will.
It is actually, I'm not watching the election stuff or the debates or whatever. And I get sent videos and things all the time. It is fun to see the people squabbling among themselves about, how great Trump is or how great Kamala is. And of course, like they want her because she's a woman, which is not even the truth. So that is going to be so fun. So fun to see how it comes out and how long it lasts, you know? Yeah, I don't think that political system is gonna sustain us too much longer. Like it's
Not
corrupt.
when they're saying these are the best candidates for
Are,
commander
are you
and
freaking
chief.
kidding me? Yeah.
It's
Out of
like, are you
all
are
of
you
America, this is the
serious?
best we can do, right? Are you kidding me? Yeah, I don't
This
think
is
so.
our leader. This is our
Yeah,
leader that we look
yeah,
up to, and
yeah,
none of them. But
yeah,
that's because they're put in, and this is my strong opinion. They are put in to help destroy us and keep the cabal going.
yeah. Yep. Well, it's very interesting because it's kept people distracted. And like we've talked about it before, selected, not elected. We think, and I thought it was a privilege to vote. I was so excited when I started to vote, but we think that our vote matters. And I found through the years that it doesn't matter. Like they're going to do what they've already got planned anyway. So not being negative and defeatist, why are they doing it that way? Like, look at what the agenda is. They're putting their person or whatever in power so that they can control the person, which controls, the way the people think, act, and what they have to do. And if you'll notice through the years, our laws have gotten more and more and more and more stringent, right? We used to be told that we were the freest country on earth, right? I believe that. We are pretty free. Like we're supposedly free to exercise our First Amendment and speak out about anything in a peaceful fashion. All right. But now we're seeing how we're all being pulled down. Social media, our websites, this, that. So is that really freedom?
Right? And nothing's really free.
Yeah,
It costs anything to
yeah,
anymore just to walk out and enjoy the beauty of the
yeah,
world cost money.
yeah. Yeah, just to
It's
do
sad.
basic things cost money, as we know, but we're seeing how they're controlling us all by increasing the prices for every consumable item we have. Utilities, gas, food, and then of course shelter. Our mortgage rates, our rental payments, it's like insane. And people are struggling. They're doing the best they can. Everyone feels pressure. They're all upset. They're all angry. They don't know what to do. All right. So,
Yeah.
like my thought is the first step is to become aware of what is the issue out there. What is the agenda out there? Why are they making us do all these crazy laws and things that don't even make sense anymore? Right? Nothing makes sense, does it?
So true. Um, takes back to that commercial that I saw of Harris saying, "Yeah, when I become president, I'm going to lower food prices." Really? Why aren't you doing it now?
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Crazy.
You
There's
know,
so
one,
much. A true commander in chief on day one, if he wasn't controlled or she wasn't controlled by the cabal, there would be so many great changes on day one with
yeah,
that little pen signing those orders. You know, fix the homeless, fix the veterans,
veterans.
fix all the problems. I mean, we have so many problems and they aren't fixing them.
Yeah.
They're just
Yeah.
there's so many problems we have, and I could go on and on and on all day, from fentanyl coming across the border to soldier suicide to veterans care to how can anybody on disability actually live on $900 a month. They make these laws, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's hard. Everyone's in the same boat. We're all rowing. We're all trying. So we're trying to support our families, and stay alive and all that. But it's really a form of control. I guess that's my whole premise for what we're saying. It's a form
yeah,
of control. So we're just we'll call them the common people, all right? But think of John. He was from a wealthy family, a politically affluent important family, and his dad was going to do some great things and had planned some great things, and they shut it down. Then they took all of the family away and all of the money away, all the control, all the power, and look what they've done to you. They've kept you in poverty. They've tortured you, kidnapped you, did all these horrible things, and basically threatened everything. So that's why the story has taken a while to come out. And, we saw on Benjamin Fulford 2 weeks ago. He was asked about your book, Stolen Identity, and if it was a real story. And he said he didn't think so because you would be out in the public eye if it was true. And of course, now he doesn't know this story. He doesn't know about your book. So he really couldn't answer it. But that's laughable because any true story is being suppressed. All of these intel providers, they're telling you all this BS, dates and about the wealth transfer and all this other stuff and blah, 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 blah. Do you think those stories that they're telling you are true? How do you think they get millions of views? And all the stuff they say over and over and over, none of it's come true. They keep pushing, the goal down the road, and people are still following them. None of that's true. The truth is being suppressed.
oh, big time.
Yeah.
Like I've said many times, this story should be the biggest. We should have millions of viewers right now. Hey,
Oh,
John Kennedy, the
yeah.
real ones,
Yeah.
live. We should have millions of views.
Yeah.
YouTube. I was on YouTube last week. I've been so busy,
Yeah.
trying to do this house and
Yeah.
everything and
Yep.
remodel it. And I don't remember the number. It was over 3,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
But after a week I looked at my subscribers and they didn't go up. I'm like, why isn't this the biggest story of the century? I'm exposing the JFK files. I'm exposing why they have done what they have done. I'm exposing what they are doing to cover it up now. And they're covering it up now. Come on, people. 3,000 subscribers on YouTube. It should be millions. It really should. But it's not.
Yeah.
And it's because the big man doesn't want my story out.
Yeah.
plain and simple. They don't want the people to know what they're really doing. And I'm saying, hey, these people will kill and replace people. They steal. They are criminals at the utmost, and they're running the country. And they don't want to go down that way. But we need to make them go down that way because these are criminals. And I don't know about you, but I don't want if the children of the world living under the control of murderers
Right,
and
right.
people that are running things now.
Agreed. It's time for us to free ourselves. And that's so we talk about this story being the biggest story on the planet, pretty much. Okay. So look at what they've done to you. No, a US president's son. They assassinated your father, broad daylight. All this stuff they've done to you and your other family members. They took away the wealth from your estate. All the stuff was taken away, sold, or whatever. They've taken all that money, but they've kept a little bit of the control and power by putting doubles in there into key positions. Okay. So, yeah, so that's just one family, all right, that we're aware of. How many more are going to come forward as soon as the story hits?
And I've had God walking with me.
Yeah,
So I can just imagine the people that have tried to come out
yeah,
that have lost their lives to these people so that
yeah,
their story doesn't get out.
yeah.
Um, it, I imagine it's huge.
Yeah. Well, that's why I've been serious when I say this. This is your mission to bring this story to the forefront, to expose everything that's going on. And once this happens with your story, like I said, more and more people will come forward. They're going to tell their story. It's going to blossom out. It's going to hit other countries because it's not just in the US that this is happening. This is a global network.
Well, see, for years, I mean, if I try to put myself in somebody else's shoes that has gone through similar things like I've gone through, um, you got to remember, if I come out, I'm dead. Do I want to come out and be dead? So there's a lot to think about. When I finally came out, it was like, I'm dying. The world needs to know. It really doesn't matter if I get deaded or not. The world needs to know because it's that important. There's so many people that have died for this country, fighting for this country. But it was that mindset that where I came out. And, I'm thinking that was close to 8 years now, somewhere in there, since I started sharing. But it was like, hey, if I'm dead, it's what I got to do
Right.
to wake up people, to let them know people are being killed and lives taken and strong armed, blackmailed, you name it, what's going on. And there's a lot of people not talking because they're afraid of being dead.
Right. When their families are threatened or whatever. Yeah, it's
Or
ugly.
their children are murdered, or
Yeah.
in my book, even that one judge's son being trampled on. Um, I still don't know what that was all about, a court order or a court decision or something. But what these people are willing to do to get the decision that, in their favor. They don't care. Like my sister, they, you know, my sister was taken from me at a very young age. She was very young. These people didn't care. They don't care. It's money and power for them. If children get in their way,
Yeah. Well, they don't really care about us in general, right? So they're willing to murder. So these guys are the ones that start the wars. Okay. They don't care that, thousands, hundreds of thousands of people die. They don't care about the environment. They don't care about all the loss of anything. They just want the money that it brings them, the control. They don't
it's
even really half the time care who wins, I think.
it's a big agenda for them, whatever their agenda is in the end, and it's always money and power,
Yeah. Oh,
whatever it takes, and they're the best at what they do. They can get countries, at war with each other for
yeah.
their agenda in the long run.
Yeah.
And you know, it's lives. Lives matter.
Yeah. Yeah. And we're gonna, all right, so I talk with my daughter roughly once a week, and we do these little points in history or interesting topics, whatever I'm told to do certain topics. And so we do whatever I'm told, and it's so fun. And I always am surprised by what I've learned. But what I'm finding is these points in history are done on purpose. So they're like, there's disregard for the lives of the people. Like, for example, we talked about the Titanic, okay? 2,400 people or so died in the Titanic because they wanted to prevent 3 people from living. All right. And so they created this whole story, this whole disaster. And then we find out that the story we've believed all these years isn't even true. They're still perpetuating the story, but they have done that with almost every event. And it's crazy. But I guess,
9/11 is a good
yeah,
example.
yeah. So we
You
talked,
know,
of
9/11 was planned. I can tell you 9/11 was planned.
course it
And
was.
9/11 was planned using people in the CIA and people under MK Ultra. So, you know, there's so many scenarios when it's planned. What they could have filled that World Trade Center with their people they didn't even like. It's like, hey, you won the lottery, go to the World Trade Center that day and get your cash. You know,
Yeah, yeah,
hey, Robin, did you have something to say? Uh,
yeah. Yeah.
she
So
was
anyway,
looking at me like she wanted to say something, but
there's a disregard for the average person's life. Okay. They don't care who is collateral damage as long as they meet their agenda, right?
yeah. And oil was a big one with 9/11.
Yeah.
I mean, they're the best at what they do, so they can put all their agendas together. The World Trade
Yeah.
Center had to come down.
Yeah.
The first bombing, you know, ruined the I don't know what you call them, the pylons that hold the building up. It damaged them a little, so they knew they had to come down, but they kept them up long enough and said, "Hey, we'll get the government to clean up our mess,"
Yeah. Yeah.
and we'll
Well,
start a war doing it too.
it was ingenious how they did it. They planned it beautifully. And they tricked all of us into believing horrible terrorists killed all of our people. And I know that the death count is much higher than what we think. So we think it's about what, 3,000 or so? And we're upset about that. I think it was more like 50,000 people. It's a huge number, all right, that
With
died.
that said, I want the viewers to know, if you've all seen the picture of little 3-year-old John Kennedy Jr., me right here doing the salute. If you've seen that, you know that was a photo op. I'm just letting you know how things work. That was a photo op. I was trained for hours to do that salute, so it could be one of the biggest pictures of the time, little John Kennedy Jr. saluting his father. Oh my God, how sad. That's what they wanted you to know. That was a photo op. It was planned. Robert Kennedy nudged me in the back, and that was my sign to do the salute at 3 years old. Now you see Donald Trump going like this. Photo op. One big photo op. And I was going somewhere with that. You know, oh, you got Donald Trump going like this, big photo op. Well, at 9/11, what did you see? You saw George Bush on a pile of rubble going like this also. We're going to get even, people. Photo op. Everybody, all Americans around him gathered. We can't handle this. Look what they did. George Bush standing there. Let's go to war. Photo op, people. One big staged photo op. And
Yeah,
we're buying into the government's bullshit.
yeah. They basically killed our people. And then they turn it into war where they kill more people. And of course, they're making money and et cetera, et cetera. Like we could go on and on about this all day. We talked, my daughter and I talked about Titanic, and we are talking about Pearl Harbor tomorrow. And I already know what she's going to say, partially, not all of it. But we had a lot of guys die in Pearl Harbor, and we got ourselves into the war. And look at the number of people that died in that war. Not even just the US guys, globally. It's insane that we are believing these lies.
Millions of people lost their lives.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we could go on a rant, which we kind of have, but what I think we need to do is really educate ourselves about the true agendas, who's on what side of the fence, and educate ourselves. That's why spreading the story is so important. Okay.
Wake
This
up,
is yeah,
question everything. Don't just accept what you're being taught and
yeah,
you're being, by our media and
yeah,
everything. And there's
yeah,
a lot of intelligent people out there, but
yeah,
we still get to haters. And I see a hater comment anymore. It's like
yeah.
this person really needs to be schooled.
Usually I'm like, whatever, but sometimes it's like, first of all, they need to educate themselves because they're programmed too, for the most part. Now, there's the guys that are purposely trying to discredit us, okay? That's a whole different ballgame, but the average person, okay, they don't know any better. So educate yourself, okay? Make your own decision, but there's no agenda here other than one, getting the story out, and then two, helping to support John in the interim while that's happening. That's it. That's it,
Truth.
right?
Justice for me, it's justice for the world, it's justice for everybody around the world.
Yeah,
Let's expose them, people. And
yeah,
we can do it. Share, one share at a time.
yeah,
Um, it's all about getting the word out because they don't want the word out. So go out of your way, hit that little button that says share, hit the little button that says download. You might get a few hater comments, but you'll find some very
yeah,
intelligent people that
yeah,
and I've met some really wonderful people since I've been sharing my story.
truly.
Awesome, awesome people that could sit at my table anytime. I would be so proud to have these people over for a barbecue and wonderful people.
Yes, it's awesome, isn't
Years
it?
ago, I didn't know. I was like, there's nobody left in this world that has a heart or anything. But I've met a lot of wonderful people.
I think, again, people just don't know. They don't know, and they're just living, they're trying to survive, they're trying to do their thing. They're not bad, they've been tricked. They've been tricked. And especially even those that say the right words, a lot of times they're on the wrong side of the fence. So, yeah. So we kind of went on a
I'm
long.
trying to concentrate, and Robin's sitting here cleaning house. It's like very distracting. I'm like,
Yeah.
go away, Robin.
Yeah, yeah. So you have been in multiple plane crashes. I wanted to talk about the crash with, where you were the only survivor. John did not make it. You saw his body, you said. Is that true? Or did they
Yeah,
never
and
find his body?
there was one survivor, his wife's sister, that I pulled out of the plane. I grabbed and pulled her out of the plane,
Yeah,
and she decided that she didn't want to listen to me and go back, and she lost her life too.
yeah, yeah,
And Robin pulled up a video the other day of somebody that was working on the wreckage and getting the wreckage, and it was really funny because his exact words in the interview was, he found a quarter. He was talking about part of John's skull, but he actually said there was a quarter size, but he referenced a quarter.
yeah,
And we all know who is on the quarter. And Wayne, showed me that there was a quarter that took the plane down
yeah,
that was stuck in the mechanism. But George Washington, and that being, George Magazine.
yeah,
And with that said, George being his real name, that stole my identity.
yeah. It's all interconnected, isn't it? Yeah, yep. Well, okay, so what else should we talk about? Are we at a good spot for today?
Yeah, Robin just showed me this. I can bring it back up. I don't know if you can see it or not. This right here was like a day or two after um, my stepbrother's execution, where he was killed on the plane.
Okay,
And I don't know, that's me right in front. That was my sister Christina. She would not talk to anybody. She sat on that table all day long.
Yeah.
That was her boyfriend that I was next to. I think he was Russian. I couldn't understand him. I think he was Russian. But anyway, if you look at my arm, see my arm?
Yeah.
I have a cast on my arm where I
Yeah.
broke my arm. But that happened in the plane crash.
Yeah.
Um, but that was somebody off in the distance with a telescopic lens taking our picture, being sneaky that day.
Ah,
But that was
right.
right after his crash. His
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
But
Insane.
all that was all covered up. People believe what they're told instead of I'm telling the real truth. I was there. Um,
Yeah.
it's hard for me to hear the negative comments when I was there, actually there. I seen my, stepbrother shot in the head. I held his head in my arms after the crash, and I was like, but yeah,
Yeah. It's hard to even
my
imagine.
story really needs to get out because these people don't advertise what they do. They don't
Yeah.
advertise. They go out of the way and not advertise.
Yeah. So probably since Aristotle was like so wealthy as well, his family was often threatened, kidnapped, and all sorts of stuff too. And
That's why he had his own island out in the middle of nowhere.
yeah.
That's why they had to take a plane or a ship to go get naked and run around and swim and naked and stuff like that. And then you still got the people with their telescopic lenses.
Yeah.
After my stepbrother was killed, I remember Aristotle with his binoculars, and he was just scanning the ocean, waiting for someone to come try to kill him.
Yeah. Mhm. Just like how you feel when you open the door to walk out, he probably felt greatly insecure, and that does affect your nervous system, like over time, every day having to watch your back, having no one to protect you. That's
It,
got
it affects your health. It does.
does affect you.
Not only your mental health, but physical health.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, what I've had to do to stay alive,
Yeah,
just yeah, people do things every day um, in life, just do things. And me being me, I couldn't do those little simple things in life just because I was worried I got to stay alive. I can't.
right, right. Yeah. See, we take that for granted. Not being famous or whatever, we can leave the house and go get groceries or whatever. Doesn't really matter what we wear, and no one's going to bother us for the most part, right? We have our own worries, but it's a whole different ball game. Yeah, that you've gone through. It's quite illuminating to find out, what you've gone through. And I know, like you've talked in the book, and we've talked on these videos about when you traveled, you'd go and get a room at a motel, but you would have this feeling that you were going to be killed, and you would sleep in the bushes in your truck, wherever it might be. How
Yeah.
horrible that would be.
It goes down to so many things. Somebody being kind and giving you a burger and a fries,
Yeah.
and when they're not looking, you throw it in the trash because you can't take the chance of eating that burger and fries.
Mm.
And I've been poisoned a few times, and you can't take the chance.
Yeah.
When the little old lady next door brings you a plate of cookies, you can't take the chance of eating those cookies because there's
Right.
so many people that want you dead.
Mm. Right. And so even today, when people send a donation, which I hope they do, I ask them not to send food to you. So
Yeah.
it's a shame because
Um, it
it's
won't,
yeah,
it'll go to waste.
yeah. But yeah, so on the website, you can purchase the pendants if you want one, but there's also a donate tab. And any funds that you give to John will help him with his living expenses, and also contribute to his purchase of books that he basically gives away to tell about the story. And then one thing we talked about is everyone going to their library or local bookstore, asking them to order the book, writing reviews for the book, that sort of thing. Share the story. It's really
Yeah,
important.
Henry, awesome. He got kicked off of TikTok
Yeah.
again. I don't know how many times he had been kicked off of TikTok, but he sent me a picture the other day. And what he's doing is he's writing my website down, and he posted it, just on a piece of paper and put it at the post office and took a picture and said, then he wrote one and taped it on the gas pump. So, if somebody is willing to go that, it doesn't, it takes a few minutes, but
Yeah,
it's so important to get the story out old school. It really is.
yeah,
Henry, for doing that is so appreciated. There was one gal that wrote me a few months ago and said they're hanging up flyers at the supermarket. The media has been taken over. They're not going to come to me and get my story out mainstream like it should be.
right.
So if you have it in your heart and you're sitting there waiting for your husband or wife to get out of the grocery store, write something, write my website down on a piece of paper and then go stick it on the bulletin
Right.
board. It would be so much, and it's just a little bit, but it will help so much. We can all do it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think the website is only going to expand, like the timeline, can be filled out even more. Right now, it's very basic, but we can add more points of interest along that timeline. And
And I thank you and Kimberly.
yeah,
Um, awesome. You Lions, you know, I know you. I didn't know Kimberly. Kimberly, but it's just the way I hope it all spreads that way like wildfire.
yeah, yeah. And again, it's got good content on it. It has some video links on it. It has the book link on it, but even if you just looked at the website, there's some good information there. So you can get the gist of the story, although it's not everything clearly, but it gives you, a flavor for it.
And if people could please check out the reviews on Amazon about the book,
Yeah,
and please, if you have got the book, please leave a review. Um, all it would take is for that book to get number one,
yeah,
and the story would be out. I mean, how could the world deny a number one book? So yeah, if you can get it for the library, old school, do what you got to do, but please let's get those reviews out there.
yeah. I got my library to purchase it, and now of course I've already read the book several times, but I then wrote a review at the library, and I also put a piece of paper in there so when I returned it, like the librarian would hopefully see it. And sometimes the libraries will highlight a book. They'll have like, oh, this month's pick or whatever. Everyone's a little different. So that's all good. This story has got to get out.
Well, that's good you got the library because I went to my library and I said, hey, I wrote a book. Will you buy it for your library? The guy's like, no. I'm like, well, I'll give you one then. But yeah, if you got them to buy it, that's great. But I had to donate mine.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and then there's other bookstores too. You can go and ask if they'll stock the book. Of course it costs them money to do that. So there's not a lot of bookstores out there. Nobody reads anymore, but it's good because it has pictures in it. Right? There are some good pictures in there, but when you read the story, you get the context of the photo, right? You understand it more. So it's good. Yeah. All right. Well, I think we're pretty well wrapped up today. We totally went on a rant. But
Hey, it's
yeah,
every time we chat, it's not rehearsed or anything.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's just
It's fun.
and I hope people share it like crazy.
Yes, me too.
But thank
And
you, Sue.
you are always welcome, and I am so happy because I feel like we're starting to break through because I've seen your face in your book recently in like 3 or 4 places. It's getting out there. It's just
And
taking a
I'm
lot.
so happy when I get love comments. Um, I
Yeah,
made a video the other day and I was looking, I had a dozen nice comments on there. A few years ago, I wouldn't get no likes, no comments, no nothing except, one hater comment and say, oh, you're crazy, go to the mental hospital.
yeah,
But now I'm love you, love Robin, love you, John and Robin. So many wonderful comments. It's awesome.
yeah.
And
I
they're all appreciated.
I usually try to people will ask questions and things in the comments that we do, and I try to explain whatever and answer them. I was unable to answer my own comments the other day on your video. And when I've gone to your channel and I've tried to write comments, they won't let me. So there is censorship going on, all right? And certain people more than others, they don't want, this story is so big when it comes out, it's gonna change the way our society is, I think. It's gonna change everything. They don't want this story out there. So,
Yeah. And they probably, these are the experts.
yeah.
They're the best of the best. They are probably already know more than we know that what it's going to do if it comes out.
Well, I think just for fun, we should get the story out there and see what happens, right? Yeah, let's get that story out there, folks. Thank you, John. I appreciate your time so
Oh,
much.
I thank you. I thank King Smarty. I thank the Lions and so many wonderful people, for sending me love. It's
Yeah,
much appreciated.
thank you for what you've gone through and being, brave enough to bring it forward, because we wouldn't have known otherwise. So, thank you so much.